Hello everyone. Once again, we're going to have a little discussion. Well, I'm going to have a little discussion because you can't talk back. But and if I make a mistake, I'm going to keep going. It's not going to be edited. So I just want to let's discuss some of the readings and how I've organized the course. You will notice that I start in Africa, in Ghana, because as you know, most of the slaves came from West Africa. So, and I picked that reading and it starts in Ghana, and it talks about childhood in Ghana. And I wanted you to understand what it may have been like pre-colonialism and pre-slavery. And it's what's very interesting, and I know a lot of you went to the Black Panther premiere, and one of the actors, John Kani, K-A-N-I, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, he discussed Africa, and what he said about the movie is going to show Africa in a new light. And I really appreciate that. If you will listen to old movies, old articles, Africa was referred to as the dark continent. People seem to think that all Africans swung in trees, were very unknowledgeable, and that they needed to be saved and colonized for their own sake. But it wasn't like that. Well, let's go back to the ancient libraries of Timbuktu. These libraries were in Mali, and you will know, if you go and you do some research on it, you will find lectures and readings on the sciences, art, health, and ancient priceless copies of the Quran and discussions on the Quran. These libraries are in Africa, and it was something that was never discussed. Many of us never knew about the libraries of Timbuktu or Mansu Musu, the most wealthy man to ever live. We really don't discuss these people, and there's so many more kings and queens and ordinary people who made their life on the continent of Africa before colonization and slavery. So I start in Africa, and then you will see that we go to the Middle Passage. And what I loved about the Steven Spielberg, about this documentary, it shows from a child's viewpoint what was it like on the Middle Passage, to lose your parents, to see your person next to you die, to not have food, to be caught in the smells and the horror of the Middle Passage, and the young person, the young child says, where is his mother? He's looking for his mother. He remembers his father and all the glory that was his life before this genocide that occurred, called the Middle Passage. Now, for the upcoming week, on Monday, you're going to be reading about childhood in slavery. And it's a short video, and I want you all to look at the video and read the reading, and it gives you an idea what it was like. And in this reading, I picked it, it gives you because a lot of us didn't think about fathers in slavery, but they were there. And it talks about the mothers and the love that a slave woman had for her child, a child that at times she couldn't even nurse because she had to nurse the mistress of the house child. So it was rich, it's deep, and we have to learn about how the relationship. But I want you all to think. I want you to take a second and think about something traumatic that happened to you when you were a child. Say you fell off your skateboard. This is California, so I know how it is, dude. You fell off a skateboard and you got a boo-boo, and you go and you think, oh, you see this mark? It's on my leg. I fell off the skateboard. I fell off my bike. I hit my head. It's traumatic, and you still remember it. So you really, when you look back, you have, and you read and you study, you have to just imagine what it was like for a slave child. And I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a historian, but I'm going to just read a few quotes from noted psychiatrists. Hold on, let me just pull this up. Okay, let's go. Okay. Just hold on. Like I said, I'm not stopping. Okay. First, we're going to talk about Harvard psychiatrist Alvin Toussaint. In his book called Lay My Burden Down, Suicide and the Mental Health Crisis Among African Americans. This takes the title from a Negro spiritual, describing the hardships of the slave system. He argues that one of the reasons that this increase in African American men they saw the afterlife as a better place. And then Terry M. Williams is a clinical social worker in New York. In her book, Black Pain, It Looks Just Like We're Not Hurting. She uses powerful personal narratives of blacks from all walks of life to illustrate the high toll of hiding the pain associated with the black experience on mental health. So you have to think of the high toll that during slavery, the slave mother, the child that took on their psyche. And a lot of people now are saying, well, why do we still discuss slavery? Why is it still important? It is important because it's our history. Without slavery, the United States of America would not be the great nation it is. It had free workers. It had free everything, so it was able to become the great nation that we are today. And one more. It says, Dr. D. Guy, a Portland University researcher and scholar, he developed post-traumatic slave syndrome. And I'm talking about this because some people are saying, oh, come on, here we go again, slave syndrome. But we have to understand where we came from tells us where we are today. We have to understand the mentality of the people who were our slavers. Why are young African American men being shot at such an alarming rate? Why are the police officers who are doing it aren't being punished? They are punished for police officers who got free pizzas. They fired them. But yet, some of the police officers who killed African unarmed men and women, they were not fired or put on desk duty, but these police officers were fired immediately. So are we equating pizzas to an African American life? It's so much that we have to think about. And all of you may not realize it, but this is the first class. This is the inaugural class of African American youth. So we're in this together. So please continue to read. Read all of the assignments that I give you because it's so rich. And I will come back and I will have discussions. The next one is going to be Brown versus the Board of Education. So I just want you to know that in order to learn about the African American youth, we have to take it back to Africa. We have to bring it back to slavery because all of these experiences of our ancestors makes us what we are today. Thank you.